Welcome to our quick tour of the dish room area. So when you exit the lab, you're going to walk through these two doors. You're going to see another set of doors on your right. You're going to have an entrance into the actual dish room itself. Nothing has actually been set up at the moment, but more than likely some things will be set up for us when we come into lab. The dish machine will be on, things like that. We have a 3-compartment sink on this side where you will find a soap dispenser and your sanitizer. You will see too that all the little red buckets up here, those are for your sanitation solution. The green buckets are going to be for your compost at your station. So that's two things that we make sure we put in each station. So when it comes time to actually fill up the bucket, you would put a bucket down. The little tube goes into the bucket itself, and then you come over here and actually push this little blue button. Oh, make sure the water's on first. Push the blue button. It dispenses out into this. Fill it about halfway full, and then you can put your sanitation rag into that at your station. If you would like to, you're welcome to come over, and we have the test strips for testing the titration. We are looking at 200 parts per million, so you would actually take a little bit of this test strip off, dip this into your solution and wait for about 5-10 seconds, and then you would take it and compare it to the color here. As long as it meets that 200 part per million color, you've got the right amount. So that needs to be one thing that we do set up at each one of the stations. Over on this side is going to be your main dish machine. It's broken down, it's all emptied out right now, but when it's on and running, we actually will start over here. We scrape any of the dirty stuff out of the pan first. We rinse as much as we can. We scrub out really, really good. You'll take either a rack like this or a flat rack like this. Put your items on it. Make sure that rack is full but not over full. And then it actually will go in here. It slides right in to the dish machine. It does its thing. It washes, it rinses, it sanitizes. It then comes out over on this side where you unload the rack onto this little drying area. This drying area, we want to try to make sure we're allowing stuff to air dry as much as possible, and then we start kind of putting it away. When it comes time to use the dish room area at the end, we only need 2 people in here at one time to make sure we keep our 6-foot distance for COVID. But you'll also see there's cutting boards here in this area, and then over in this room, and by the way, we have motion detector lights, so if the light's off, usually when you walk in to the room they come on. But we store pots and pans here. We've got plates here, all kind of different serving plates, from bread and butter, salads, and different things. We have full-size sheet pans, glassware. This rack here is full of sauciers, saute pans, cast iron skillets. Majority of the stuff that we'll need in the 120 lab will come from this particular cage. Of course, you'll have your toolbox that has the wire whisk, the tongs, the spatula, those utensils. But we do have a few extra here if we need to pull from here. You'll find mixing bowls here and half sheet pans, hotel pans. A lot of the Lexan plasticware is going to be up on this top shelf. We won't use it, but I will share with you there's more bake shop items in this cage. This cage over here is also going to have more bake shop area, pots, pans, all kind of stuff for that, but we won't fool with these 2 cages. Most of ours, again, is going to come from this cage here, and then probably that shelf right there. That's going to be our predominant thing. We do use a lot of deli containers. So we've got the half size, we've got the full size. This should have some lids in it. If we don't have enough, we will get more. Because at the end of the lab, we make sure we put everything in deli containers and label date it correctly and then store it correctly. You'll also see that we keep a silverware rack right here. So for your tasting, whether you need a spoon, a fork, or knife, get it from right here, and then you can return it back to that location. So just a couple of quick things also. Remember that we're trying to keep with the COVID guidelines as much as possible. So we're only going to do 2 people in here at the end of the lab. Now, during the lab, if you need to come watch something, you know, please come in here and get it set up. Breakdown also, and I'll kind of work with you each week. Whoever's in here the first week, we'll go through the breakdown of the dish machine. There's a little lever right here that we lift up to actually drain it. You can barely see it, and then we'll pull that basket out down there and we'll clean it up. But all this stainless steel that you see, we have to clean it. So we usually put Dawn on it, scrub it down, hose it down real good, and then we dry all this off. And if we use a 3-compartment sink, which we probably will, we'll do the same exact thing. You've got a hand sink in here also on this end, and way over on the far end there's another hand sink. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're on one end washing, you want to wash your hands first before you come down here and pull your clean items too. So that's just a real quick walkthrough tutorial of our dish room area. As we kind of move through the classes, it'll make a little bit more sense, and then you'll see, make sure you enter from this side and you exit from this side. Just to give you a quick heads up also, this is actually the pastry lab here. We will be using this area for our 120 class. There may be a few things that we do a little bit differently. So we'll probably put 4 people in here. We've got the blue tape in the middle to kind of help keep you separated 6 feet apart. Different pieces of equipment that you can utilize. We'll kind of work through some of that as we move into the lab. And then you walk back out and move over into the main lab. And we have all kind of pretty shiny stainless steel, new equipment. Well, I shouldn't say new equipment, but there's a station, there's 3 stations on this side, and then there's 3 on this side. Excuse me, I about tripped. So that's going to conclude this quick tour. I will give you more information as we progress. Hopefully this will be helpful.